Hey everyone, I am here to introduce you to your second project in statistics. This project gives you a little bit more freedom because you're able to choose your own research question. You just don't get to pick the data that you're choosing your research question from. All of that's coming from the survey that you took a little while ago. In this project, you're going to be putting some slides together and then presenting your findings to the class. So let's talk about what this project is going to look like. I want to give you a full picture of what it looks like to complete this project from start to finish. So here are the 6 steps to completing this project. Step number 1, meet with your group. Hey. Step 2, decide on a research question. You all hopefully took that survey that was sent out to you by the course coordinator, the Google form. Well, the results of that survey are now available to you up on Moodle under the projects folder. It's actually set up so that when you click on the link, it will create a copy of the survey to your own Google Drive. So you'll have the data and you'll be able to manipulate it however you want without having to worry about your changes affecting everybody else. You'll want to look through that data with your group and pick out a research question. Now our research question here is comparing 2 groups. So you'll want to look through the data and find 2 groups that you want to compare. And the only catch is that we want to focus on Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 methods. So you want your explanatory variable to be binary, something that only has 2 categories. You don't want your explanatory variable to be something that's quantitative, and you don't want it to be something that's got a lot of categories, something that's just like yes or no, so that you can fill out a 2-way table, just like we have in class. What do you think? Maybe those 2? Nah, nobody could fold a fitted sheet. Step 3, clean up your data. There's a couple of things that are worth mentioning here, a couple of techniques that I want to show you how to do in Google Sheets that will make this just go so much easier for you. Since you've got your own copy of the Google Sheet, you can make any changes that you want. You don't have to worry about your changes affecting the other groups. Since you're just focusing on 2 of these categories, you can delete all the others if you want. I can highlight these and right-click and hit delete columns A and B. I can highlight the rest of these and right-click and delete these columns too. I only need these 2. Now from here I want to clean up my data, which means a couple of things. First of all, I want to eliminate any entries where somebody didn't fill out one of these 2 pieces of information. There was no requirement that you had to fill out every single thing on the survey, so if you weren't comfortable filling something out, you can leave that blank. Well, if any of my people did that on this data, then I can't use their data. So I'll need to go through and find out any instances where that happened and delete those rows. I also need to be on the lookout for any entries where people filled out the information in a way that's different than what I expected or what I need. For example, if these are all numbers, maybe somebody wrote it in as a word, like this. If that's the case, then I need to go through and make sure that all of my answers are in the right format. This is part of being a statistician. If you're getting information from an electronic survey, you'll need to make sure that all of your data matches the format that you're looking for. Now the nice thing about the Google survey is for things like yes and no, those are selected as just option buttons, so you don't have to worry about those being off. But in general, that's the kind of thing you want to be on the lookout for. It can affect some of our calculations if this was entered as like a lowercase no, and then later if we want to use a formula to try to count it, it won't show up. So we want to make sure in general that all of our information, all of the data we have in our spreadsheet is in the format that we're expecting. In addition to this, once we've got our data cleaned, there can be great benefit to knowing a couple of Excel or Google Sheet commands that can save us some trouble here. I'm going to put a little label here. I'm going to say yes carrots. And don't worry about what in the world this means. These are just some random titles that I made up for this example. none of this is data that you actually entered in a survey. Now here, for Google Sheets, I'm going to press the equals button to let it know that I want to do a formula and actually have it calculate something. And I'm going to use the command COUNTIF. COUNTIF is a command that will count the number of cells that meet a particular criteria. From here, I'm going to select all of this for as far down as I went, and boy did I go down a lot. Oh wow, okay, we'll just go down to there. I don't even know what that means. I'll put a comma. My first entry here is the range of data that I want it to look over, and the second piece of data here is the criteria. What do I want it to count? Well, here I want it to count all of the times that there's a cell that says yes. I'm going to type a quotation mark to let Google Sheets know that the criteria that I'm looking for is text, not a number. And then I'll type the word that I'm looking for here, that's yes, end quotes. I'll close my parentheses to let it know that I'm done, and when I hit enter, it counts the number of times that I have the value yes in that column. It's got some interesting suggestions here, but I'm going to vote no on that. Now you could copy and paste this to down here to get the number of no's as well, which you're welcome to do. You can also just type it in again and change that. The one caution I'll give here is if you do paste, notice that it'll actually adjust your formula to have your range drop by 1 because you put it in a cell that's one piece lower. So you want to make sure that your range does not change when you do this. So I'm going to change that back to what it's supposed to be. And then here, I'll just change that to a no. And there we have it. I can do the same kind of thing on another categorical data set if I have it. Another really useful piece here is if you're doing something that has to do with a mean, we can do that as well. Car alarm mean. I'm going to double click here to make that as wide as I want. Again, equals to let Google Sheets know that I'm going to be doing a formula. And from here, average is the way that we can get the mean. And oh, look at that! It's so kind to offer this average here. And if you hit tab, it'll actually fill that out for you from B2 to B221 in my case, and it gives me the mean just like that. Those commands, the COUNTIF and average, can save you just a world of time. But it is important that everything is in the correct format. If there's anything that's not entered as a number, it can really screw up this calculation, maybe even give you an error. And if anything over here doesn't match that text exactly, then Google Sheets isn't going to count it in the COUNTIF function. So that's what we mean by cleaning our data. Make sure that we get rid of all of the rows that are empty in any of our categories, and making sure that all of our data matches the format that we're expecting. Step 4. Do some math. This is the part where we actually do statistics on our data and see what we can infer. Once you've got your data cleaned up, you can put it directly into some of the applets that we've seen in class, where you can get some data visualizations, you can run some simulations, get yourself a p-value or a standardized statistic or a confidence interval, or however you want to go about it. But this is the part where you do a statistical test of significance and draw some conclusions. Having your data in a Google Sheet already makes using applets a lot easier. If you want to just copy and paste your data into the applets, do make sure that if you have any headings that are more than one word, that you make them just one word. Otherwise you'll get some of the most fantastic errors when you try to use the applet. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward to run any statistical tests on your data. You can use the descriptive statistics applet in order to get dot plots and box plots or anything that you want to use, making sure that you've got the right quantitative variable, and if you want to do any separation or adding box plots, you can use that and copy these or save them to put them into your PowerPoint. Whether you're using proportions or quantitative data would determine the other applet that you would want to use, but same idea goes here. You can just copy and paste, although you have to copy again and paste. Use the data here, show shuffling options and whatnot, and plug in your information here in order to get the statistics that you're looking for. In your presentation, make note of some of the values that you're seeing on here. Don't just gesture to them and let the audience connect the dots. Talk about what's happening over here and what's happening with counting samples and doing shuffles. If even just briefly, just to make it clear that you know what's going on. This can also be a great way to split things up within your group. You can have some people work out some of the descriptive statistics and visual aids, and have some people actually work out the simulation and tests for statistical significance.
Oh hey, did you work out the P?
I guess you could say that.
Great, what did it look like?
It was fine. Usual color.
What?
Step 5. Put your slides together. Up on Moodle, under the Projects folder, there's also a Project Number 2 slide template. And if you download that, it's a PowerPoint file that will include some template slides for you to use. Fill these out with your information, your title, the people in your group, your questions, hypotheses, maybe some pictures from your data exploration and simulation, the generalizations, causations, conclusions, the look forward and look back. All of those are part of your study, and those are the things that you're going to be presenting on.
Hey, how do you spell your last name?
Are you for real right now?
No.
And step 6, present. When the day comes, all of the groups will present their findings to the class. Since there's about 4 people in each group and about 4 slides, the idea here was that every person would present about 1 slide. But you can divvy it up in different ways, whatever makes the most sense for your group. The key piece here is that we want everyone to participate.
And look ahead and think about how we would do things differently, especially in regards to the carrots.
That is everything that you should need to know for this project, but if you have any other questions, please come see me. I'm happy to help you guys think through this and work through this and put this together. Go get 'em!